Everyone, this is LaserBolt and welcome to today's video, guys. Today begins an episode of changes that the game needs moving forward. Today we're going to be focusing on legendary gear and what these changes might imply to better the game and how we could get a better Outriders for the future to come. So if all of this sounds like something you're definitely interested, a like would be greatly appreciated, and let's dive in and talk about the legendary gear. Alright, so as you guys may already know, we had a big update when it came to Outriders. Moving from the release of the game to now, there's been a ton of changes, and I think the game is in a very good state right now, where we could actually talk about improvements we would like to see in other areas, apart from all the bugs and all the issues the game has had. Today we're going to be focusing primarily on gear, but later on we'll be talking about weapons. We'll be talking about a lot of changes we would like to see in the game. Some are going to be big, some are going to be minor. And I hope the community can band together and we could actually get these, out to the developers and have them see how much the community actually wants them. So if you guys want to see these changes for certain topics that we're going to be talking about, make sure you guys drop a like, drop comments, so we can get this video more noticed, so we can get more traction when it comes to the development, and so they can put it on their priority list of changes that need to come more faster than usual. So, like I said, today we're going to be focusing on legendary gear, and I think these changes are not too huge where they could break the game or where it will take too much manpower from the developers to actually create. It's something that could actually be tweaked, and most things probably would be internal testing that would have to be applied. So let's take a look at our legendary armor and see what we have as far as currently right now, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about the changes I would like to see. One of the biggest changes that I would like to see, and I don't think it would be too much of a huge implemental, would be the fact that the seismic commander pieces or any other legendary armor that currently right now only has a bonus of up to 3 armor pieces. So theoretically speaking, the majority of us are running a 3-set piece. If you're running a pyromancer, you're running the Akari, my bad. If you're running the Devastator, you're running a seismic. So everybody has their own specific armor set where they're only generally running 3 pieces. Now, one change that I would definitely like to see is that we go from the 3-piece equipped bonus set to having the 5-piece equipped bonus set. I think this would give it a huge advantage when it comes to using your legendary armor, maybe adding an extra ability or extra perk, extra incentive to make sure you rock the 5-piece bonus set. I think that is going to be something that would change the game dynamically and also make the game a little bit more enjoyable and make other particular legendary armor pieces more viable. As you guys know right now, everybody's kind of tied down to just one specific armor set per character because that's the best one to use for that character. I think right now there's a lot of other legendary armor sets that are not being utilized or not being used because they're underwhelming. So I think if they were to add a benefit when you have 5 pieces of your armor set, 5 pieces of your legendary sets available, then this would actually make the game a little bit more enjoyable and would make the legendary pieces more obtainable in the sense of you wanting to actually farm them. So that is one change I would like to see. Another change I would like to see in the legendary armor would be a way for me to change the actual attributes for that armor set. As you guys know right now, currently right now in the game, each legendary armor set drops with its own specific legendary attributes, and there is no way of actually re-rolling this. The only way to re-roll this is to actually get some blue, get some purple, some blues. If you get a legendary, it's going to be stuck with what it has. So, for example, this particular helmet that we're looking at here, this one comes with anomaly power, status power, skill, life leads. I personally don't like that. I would actually like to have anomaly power, status power, cooldown reduction in my helmet. Currently, right now, these are dropping with static rolls, and this messes up a couple builds, and it makes builds a little bit less underwhelming because you're kind of like, I'm forced to use the helmet, but I wish I could use something else there to be able to make my build even more powerful. So I think giving us an ability of actually changing those stats of maybe if you get another, so like let's say you get another helmet, you can infuse that helmet and change one of those stats. That could be an option. You could also have the option where you could change one of those stats with a lot of shards instead of, currently what it is. You're probably going to be a really high number for the shards, or you could change them with pods. So make it end game, that if you want to change the stat via end game, you have to spend, like, let's say 400,000 pods, and then that allows you to change one of the stats, or make it farmable where you just got to find the right roll. The more you get the helmet, the more you get that god roll, right? So I think right now there isn't any armor set that has all the stats god rolled. We have to give and take some of the stats based on the fact that these are running. We're just rolling with static stats. So once again, guys, number one, I think the armor set needs a 5 piece bonus, and number two, I think we need to have it where it actually gives us the option of being able to change the attributes for that particular item. And on to number three. Now, this is going to be a little bit more far-fetched. This is mostly coming from a perspective of aesthetics. And I think currently right now, one of the things about the game that I feel like should be added, it's not a priority. I wouldn't put it in a priority list, but I think it would be something that would be not too difficult to implement. And it would be something that gave a little bit more difference in the sense of making us look different than everybody else. I think if you ever guys play Destiny, in Destiny they had a thing called shaders that you were able to apply to the armor set. The armor set stays the same. The only thing that changes is the color of the armor set. I think right now, if everybody's running the same armor set or they're running the same armor, everybody looks the same. There is no kind of diversity when it comes to the way you look or the way you look. The only thing that changes is your name. I think we need to have that kind of diversity in this game. I think it would be nice if I could actually change the color of my seismic commander to blue, to red, to green, neon, whatever, to make it a little bit more kind of cosmetically more pleasing and give us a little bit more sense of individuality as opposed to making everybody look kind of cookie cutter the same. I think giving us the ability of applying some type of color, some type of texture, kind of very similar to what they did with the vehicles, would be a really cool thing and something really accepted by the community. I think a lot of people would like to look a little bit different than everybody else. I think something like that would be easily implemented. It's not too much transmog because transmog would be the best thing to add, but shaders for right now, I think would be a very viable option and something easily to be implemented. It was just a matter of putting shaders and applying that texture to the actual, to the actual armor so it could look different and it could stand out. The last one I want to mention, and this one is going to be primarily focusing on making other legendary armors more viable. Like I said, right now, one of the biggest issues, everybody's running the same armor set. I think we need to bring other legendary armor sets up to par with the meta armor sets. For example, if you're looking at my Devastator here, Seismic Commander is the way to go, but we have the Marshal, we have the Death Proof. There's other, for the same thing happens with the other classes. Technomancer has some really cool armor sets. They look aesthetically cool, but unfortunately, people don't use them because there are not any benefits or incentives when it comes to that. That also ties into some skills not being very viable because, one of the biggest problems that we have with the Devastator is that Boulder Dash sucks, right? You could also kind of mention that the majority of Reflect Bullets, I mean, they're awesome, but they are not meta. I think bringing the armor sets into a par where they do enough damage and make certain builds viable with certain skills for those particular armor sets, I think that's something that definitely needs to be addressed and something that needs to be done to make the gear and the legendary armor sets more beneficial when it comes to actually getting drops, because you're not going to be playing as a certain cookie cutter where it's everybody's running the same thing. You're going to be having different options of actually playing. Yes, theoretically you could play, currently right now with the Devastator, you could play with different skills and still clear CT-15s, but it's just so time consuming of actually getting those clears because you're not doing enough damage to make those fast clears. And as you guys know, this game, it's all about finishing as quickly as you possibly can, not only to make your farm a little bit better, but to actually hit those times when it comes to making sure you get those CT-15s. Now, I think if you were to bring out other gear that would be a little bit more viable in the sense of benefits that it gives you when you're using that gear, that would be amazing. So number 4 would be bringing other legendary armor up to par to the meta armor. And overall, in general, guys, those are the ones that I want to recommend for the gear and things that I feel like should be changed when it comes to the legendary armor in Outriders. If you have any other additional suggestions, drop them down in the comment section down below. If you have any opinion on the ones I mentioned, maybe a little bit different in how you get stuff, maybe different ideas of how to give us more individuality when it comes to actually the way we look, drop them in the comment section down below. I do hope you guys are enjoying our Outriders coverage. If you are, do me the huge favor, guys, drop a like, drop a comment, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and don't forget to catch us live on stream where we help you get the gear you need. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.